opening the meeting of the Southborough Zoning Board of Appeals for Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. This is a remote meeting via Zoom. Participation can be done remotely through the www.southborough.com/remote meetings link. On our agenda this evening, the first thing we have is for a public hearing is 26 Granuel Road, Sean and Julie Connolly, special permit. Do you have the notice to read, Laura?
I do. And I just want to point out that I did make a mistake in this notice about the location, but I will read it as it was published. The Board of Appeals of the Town of Southborough will hold a public hearing in the Public Safety Training Room, 32 Corderville Road, Wednesday, May 7th, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. with regard to the petition of Sean and Julie Connolly, 26 Granuel Road, Southborough, Mass. The petitioner is seeking a variance to construct a garage that will encroach on the side setback. The property is located in the Residence A zoning district. Relief is requested under section 174-8.2 D3C.
Thank you. All right, and do we have somebody for the petitioner ready to present?
Yes, let me just move them over. He's just rejoining. Hi,
Hello.
Sean.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good.
So do you have something that you want to present this evening, or are you really just going to sort of talk through it?
Well, we did submit some materials. We got a survey that we sent over to Laura earlier today. It just came in. Unfortunately, we didn't have it earlier, but so I don't have anything ready to share from here. But we can certainly talk about what we're planning to do and a little bit about the encroachment and also the support that we have from our neighbors to move forward.
Okay, all right, sure.
So it's going to encroach.
Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So it's going to encroach a few feet into our neighbors at 28 Granuel.
No, into the setback, sorry.
Yeah. Into the setback. And they, I think, have provided a letter and support that this is okay with them. When we had submitted the application, the building inspector didn't sign off on it because he didn't, I forgot exactly what he said, but essentially we didn't have like a survey done that showed kind of exactly. So that's what we submitted late today. It actually just happened to come in today. And so that's been submitted. So we're just now hoping that with our neighbor support and with the plans we've provided that we can get the relief that we need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I don't think we said it yet, it's a 2-car garage addition to
Yes.
our existing structure
Okay.
that we're looking to build. Yep.
And so there's no existing garage?
There's no existing garage.
Okay. All right, so just for purposes of being transparent here, I think the board all would have an opportunity to look at this as well. So and I think I have to say it correctly, Laura, the building commissioner at the time, Chris Lund, did write. There is a note here, and he says he's concerned about it, that it's not legally recognized by the state to convey such a request. In other words, the proposed plot plan is self-generated and not provided and sealed by a professional land surveyor. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know that necessarily sways me a lot based on what we've looked at in the past, but that's certainly something that maybe as a board we can discuss or decide if we think it matters to us or not. But like otherwise, I guess I'm sort of jumping in here a little bit to look at it, but I thought otherwise I don't really see a problem with it. So let me just ask some questions though. So the the encroachment is to the east, right? You're 26 and the way.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's north. So your garage is sort of, the house is sort of extended back, and then the garage is there, and you're showing a distance of 21.6 feet to the property line. Where it's
Correct.
got to be what, 25? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I thought I looked at this also for what it's worth on Google Maps today, and I would agree it's a little bit hard to see. Just the sort of the, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to state this incorrectly, but where you are, right? Your house is set back from your neighbors to your east. So the setback, the garage is going to be even further back from where they are. Right?
Correct.
So, and these are the neighbors that are to your east. They're the ones that are in support of it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Again, if it was going the other way, where it's, I don't know what that is. That looks completely undeveloped to the west, but this is to the east, so that part doesn't matter. I don't think I have other questions, so I'm going to let the board go ahead and ask some questions. Let's start with Jamie.
I don't have any questions. I actually drive by this house all the time, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I don't see an issue with where the garage will be.
Okay. Doris?
I generally don't have any large issue other than just a general question, which is, I thought the property, I believe, is on a few acres, and this was placed to the east on the setback for architectural reasons, or the driveway, you can't put it anywhere else on the property. Just sort of, it seems that the property has a lot of space other than,
So it
That's
has
what- yeah.
it has a lot of space, but if you look at the site plan, it's actually kind of narrow space, like it's very deep and
Yeah.
okay,
it's actually only about 30 feet from the west corner of our property to the westward property line. So we
Oh,
actually
okay.
didn't have space on the west side to do it, so this was sort of the only way we could. And you'll even
Okay.
notice that it's a little bit catty corner to the back of our house, again, to try to work as best we can within the setbacks.
so you have just a minimum 149 on the frontage, is what you're saying? Your frontage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
when we purchased the property about 5.5 years ago,
Uh-huh.
it was a much larger parcel, and it was subsequently purchased and subdivided, and it's all new houses around us, and so the
I see.
developer did what he could to squish in as many other houses as he could.
I see, okay.
So and then sold us this house.
Mhm.
Okay. So that was just my general question. And you do have a 2-car garage, and this is, or 3-car garage, and this is 2 additional, you have no garage?
No, we
we
have
have no
no
garage.
garage.
We have no garage.
Oh, goodness, okay. So in
We
general,
don't.
David, I just had that general question. I'm pretty much in favor
Okay.
of this, and don't see the survey is gonna come into play negatively for me deciding.
Okay. Doug, any questions?
No questions, pretty straightforward. I did see that we got the survey, so that was great, very helpful. I just took a quick look at it, but I don't have any concerns.
Okay. Paul?
No questions or concerns.
Thank you.
Mike?
I want to see the plot plan that Chris had the issue with. I was trying to pull it up. Laura, if you're able to send that to me
Oh.
quickly.
Sorry,
take
that
it.
one. Yeah, let me share it. So it was in the original packet.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
just trying to pull it up quickly. It was
Yeah,
kind of
here,
on
I'll
the
share it with you.
laptop.
In this original document, that we had our architect who drew up the plans for the garage. He kind of put it together on an existing plot plan we had, but that wasn't, officially surveyed or anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the original one. Chris had wanted like a an actual surveyed plan stamped by a PLS, which we did get today. So I think no matter what, that's resolved, I hope.
Yeah, I can see why he didn't make, it's not as big a deal as he made it out to be, but
Well-
I can see why he had a question on this. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to go too far into all the details around that, Mike. But I mean, I feel like we've had this question before.
We
And so,
have.
well, should somebody go through all the expense and come to us and say, here's what I'm gonna do, and they have full plans developed, and we go, no, we're shutting it down. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure I understood the issue is all. I wanted to just see it and I just didn't have it recalled.
Okay.
No, given the location of the property, given the location of the lot lines, I think that creates that issue in which relief is kind of warranted. In
Yeah.
this situation here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have an objection, but basically with the existing, that proposed addition, it's really like, and unless they went kind of like straight back. So given the configuration of the lot and the location of the house and the direction of the house, that I think it meets that criteria as far as a hardship.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just looking for the words here, like shape of the lot, topography.
Yeah, we always look for, size, shape, topography in order to determine whether or not we feel that there's a sufficient hardship in order to grant relief. And I think that given that the information that we've provided here, I think we're able to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't really see a problem. We've certainly been in this situation before where there's an encroachment. In this case, it's not a huge one, and the important thing is the neighbor being encroached upon as far as the setback goes, is in favor of it. So it to me it really kind of removes the concerns. Why is this doing what it's doing? Sorry, I was really trying to get back to look at the plan, but I think it's okay with me. Okay, Laura, do we have anybody who's looking to come in from the public for any comments?
I have no other attendees here. I did want to note too, just in case it's helpful for you guys, there are wetlands near the back of the property as well. So that creates a buffer zone. So it does kind of limit them a little bit in terms of where they can put the garage as well. So.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And in terms of process, they'll have to be in front of Concom then.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Working on that.
Yeah, and that's probably, I'm going to say, likely the largest consideration. Zoning wise, I don't see, again, I don't want to keep repeating myself. I did pull up the plan. But yeah, knowing that you're going to be in front of conservation, I think is useful. Okay, so nobody from the public looking to come into the meeting. We don't have any other questions, so I think we're probably ready to close the public hearing. Somebody wants to make a motion?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing with a second. All in favor, respond with aye, opposed nay. Doug, you'll be abstaining. Jamie?
Aye.
Doris?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
And Williams, aye. Okay, the public meeting is closed now. I don't know if we need to have any more discussion on it. It seems like it's fairly straightforward from the questions or lack thereof we have on the board.
Laura,
So-
do you need any additional findings for the decision?
I don't think so. The biggest ones were the topography, shape of the lot, that
Yes.
argument for the variance, which I
Yes.
think you guys covered. So
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything before we close out.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I think we definitely want to cite the shape of the lot.
100%.
Topography, I think, talks a little bit more about, you know, it's too hilly there.
Slope, exactly.
Slope. So,
There's, what is it? Ledge or something like that. It's the
correct.
shape of the lot that really forces us and forces the petitioner to place the location of this proposed structure where it is.
Yeah, I would say the shape of the lot very clearly is sort of the limiting factor here. So that's what we need to cite when it comes to our findings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
We need a
Need a
motion.
motion.
Make a motion to approve the application as written.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, motion to approve the application as written has been made with a second. All in favor, respond with aye, opposed nay. Jamie,
Aye.
Doris,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Mike,
aye.
and Williams, aye. Congratulations, it's approved.
Thank you,
Laura,
guys.
do
Thank you.
you want to share the specifics here on the?
Sure. So we have 14 days to write and file the decision with the town clerk. We try to have it done earlier. Our filing deadline for this will be May 21st. As soon as we file it with the town clerk, there's a 20-day appeal period. Once that is over, you guys can move forward with building permits and whatnot. You can file for conservation during the appeal period. That doesn't have any impact on that. So I'll be in touch. I'll send you guys a copy of the decision as soon as we have it filed.
Great. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Laura. Thank you, everybody.
Aye.
Thank
Great
you.
night. You're welcome. Have a good night. Okay.
No.
So-
Damages you can, will destroy the government, can bring on board to destroy it. And,
Oh, there's a lot of background noise somewhere. So the next item we have on our agenda is, are we, yeah, we're okay for time. 153 Corderville Road, 153 Corderville Road LLC special permit. This is regarding a wall sign. Laura, could you read the public notice?
The Board of Appeals of the Town of Southborough will hold a public hearing via virtual Zoom meeting Wednesday, May 7th, 2025 at 7:15 p.m. with regard to the petition of 153 Corderville Road LLC, 153 Corderville Road, Southborough, Mass. The petitioner is seeking a special permit to allow wall signs above the maximum allowable height and larger than the maximum allowable area. The property is located in the Industrial Park Zoning District, and relief is requested under Section 174-9 and Section 174-11. Shannon was having some difficulties logging onto the meeting, so she is not here yet. Hopefully she will be here soon. She was just emailing me. I do want to note for you guys that they changed the sign design, because what they had originally requested was signs up to 80 square feet, which per the bylaw, you guys cannot grant a special permit for anything over 75 feet. When we pointed that out, they revised the sign plan and it will now fully comply with the area. So it's going to be the 50 square feet. So they do not need a special permit for the area. It will just be for the height.
Okay.
So, I do not know where she is. Let me see if I can get her. We did get a report from the planning board as well. They were mostly in favor of the proposed sign. They were not in favor of the, I want to say like the illumination.
Yeah.
The sign materials, colors, lettering style, and illumination and form, they voted no on that in their report. Specifically because per 174-11 C3, no sign may utilize translucent panels, canvas, or other fabric, letters, devices, or similar components, except for businesses fronting on Route 9, which this is not. Their other thing that they were not in favor of was granting special permit to cover future signs. So part of this proposal is a specific proposed sign and then to cover the building for future signs that may be placed similarly. The planning board feels that each sign should apply for its own special permit.
Okay.
So,
I think I tend to agree with that. I think it's a little dangerous to say you can do any of these up to 38 feet in height, so
I agree.
I would not disagree with that. I'll be, when the proponent gets on, I'd be curious to hear their, their take on, the problem with the translucent panels, canvas, or other fabrics. They also noted in here, note the sign shall not be illuminated between the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I don't know that, I wouldn't not expect that would be a problem for them, but it is noted in the memo from the planning board.
yeah, I think it's something that the planning board typically likes to just remind people of.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the proposal, as I understand it, was just, it basically comes down to the height of the building or the
Yeah.
sign, and that it shall otherwise comply with the sign bylaws.
Yeah.
So that illumination should not be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, they're not here yet still?
No,
Okay.
there she is.
I'm going to take the liberty to comment before they're allowed to present, but looking at the materials they submitted, I mean, I think probably most of us are very familiar with the building. It's the big office building that's right next to where you go into the transfer station. So knowing the location and size of the building, I think to me, I think, I don't seem to have a problem with that. I think the planning board did make reasonable notes and conditions here. So I'm just interested in having that conversation, I guess, once they join.
Sure.
If they don't join in a few minutes, do we want to, like, if there's any other matters that we want to take care of,
Yeah, I was just
dispose of any other matters, but
thinking that
I
as
know
well,
we're
Mike. We
on their
could-
time, so to speak, but I don't know what else we have to clear.
Meeting minutes?
Yeah. The meeting minutes is definitely one of them. We have meeting minutes where
And
actually,
that was it.
Meeting minutes and scheduling.
yeah.
Uh,
So I'm just looking for it in the agenda, Laura. I don't see it, but the meeting minutes are from, I took a look at one of the meetings, that was a March meeting, is that correct?
Yeah, it was March 19th.
March 19th. Okay, so yeah, that was where we looked at the garage, the special permit for the detached two-car garage, where they were going to put in a lift to be able to do 4 there, a total of 8. We had to continue that one. There was another, there was something for Park Central. Anyway, in the long and the short of it, I looked at the minutes and had no problem with it. I don't know if anybody else had any concerns with the minutes as written.
one I thought was typographical in the first paragraph, small.
Okay, well,
I was gonna bring it back up. I was in the SharePoint, but possibly, Laura, I think you can follow me here. In the first, maybe say the first paragraph, there's the word state. I think you mean to say states or stated.
Yeah.
It's a singular. That was it.
okay.
Okay.
Anyone else?
No
Any
comments.
concerns?
Make a motion to approve the amended meeting minutes with the plurality change.
Second,
Okay, motion to approve the minutes with the minor edit made and seconded. All in favor, respond with aye, opposed nay. Jamie,
aye.
Doris,
Aye.
Paul, Mike,
Aye.
and Williams, aye. Now, for Doug, I think maybe you were an alternate that night as well? Okay, all right. So that takes care of the meeting minutes then. What else do we have? You just want to talk about upcoming schedule or any other updates?
Yeah, so as far as upcoming schedule, we have our regular meeting on May 21st. We have 2 special permits, both for signs. And then the 250 Turnpike 40B discussion, that we are hopefully going to get some sort of materials for to discuss.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have June 18th. I wanted to just confirm that date with you guys to make sure that that worked. So that I need to send out public hearing notices shortly.
Yeah. Okay.
So are you guys all okay with June 18th? As of right now, it is 2 special permits to be determined if there's a 40B component to it. So location to be determined, but just wanted to confirm the date with you guys.
Work for me.
I think it's okay with me.
The 18th.
Yeah.
And we have
June
a
18th.
regular scheduled May 21st. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay with me.
Okay with me.
Okay.
Laura, the May 21 meeting, is that the one where you had the question about Jay or somebody else coming in instead? Or is that a different?
Yes.
meeting? Okay.
Yeah. So Jay is unavailable. Do you guys want a different attorney from his firm?
I mean, I think if we're gonna have any substantial discussion, I would like somebody to be there.
Okay.
I mean, I've found it, I don't know about anybody else, but I found it to be really helpful at the 40B meetings to have Jay.
100%.
I've really enjoyed, it would be better if it was consistent, but I enjoy having them there.
Yeah.
It's very helpful in the scope of what other towns are doing, and no, it's extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Yes, I want them.
Okay.
Where is that meeting, Laura?
The May meeting is at the townhouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vacation on Zoom is over.
I know.
Yeah, I was looking to go to
Nice.
the, I don't, in one of the notices, when we put public notice, I thought it said, that's why I questioned you today, that we were at the public safety.
Yeah. That was
So-
my mistake.
Yeah, no, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
No,
I
I was looking forward to seeing people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
And Shannon emailed me and said she's here, but she's not here. So we're trying to
Oh.
figure this out. One other little update, just a good one, I think, hopefully.
Okay, good.
My job will be going full-time as of July 1st.
Yay.
So
Yay.
being-
Yay.
going up to
Okay, that
35.
was, yeah, that was on the fence, then off the fence.
Glad to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it'll be a 50-50 split with the hours between ZBA and conservation. But definitely excited for that.
Excellent.
Been basically doing full-time this whole time, so it'll be nice.
You might as well get
Yeah.
paid for what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it gives some peace of mind too.
Yeah.
You have a regular schedule.
Yes.
Can we talk about, Mike, can we talk about if it's not on the agenda? Like the ADU failed? I know that. Can we talk about, what's the future a little bit, or just push it to another meeting when we have time?
Mike, what's your take on it? You were more heavily involved in this than me.
Yeah, short version is I was disappointed about a lot of things. I wish we had been able to have a substantive conversation with the town about, do we want short-term rentals? Do we not? Like do we want to have site plan review for newly built detached ADUs, question mark. But since there wasn't any nuance, since there was that additional Article of 29, which I think all of you know I was unaware of until, let's just call it 2 weeks prior to the town meeting.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, if you guys saw the meeting, they're like, oh, we're really disappointed. I mean, we had talked about that proposal, but we had talked about a lot of things. And
Yeah.
so to me, those were conversations as opposed to, hey, here's our updated version. This is what we requested Jay to draft. This is what Jay drafted, and here you go. You know, I wasn't privy to any of that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I was on vacation for that meeting. So I didn't know.
Yeah.
As far as ADUs now, the default is the state regulations.
Right.
So, you know, protected use ADUs in Southborough are allowed by right. There's no site plan review for protected use ADUs. If there is a request for an unprotected ADU, say something over 900 square feet, then what they'd have to do is they would go to the town for building permit. The building permit would get denied, and then that would come to us as
Yeah.
for approval.
So
for an
my
unprotected use.
I think my
So whether
opinion on
Attached,
that,
detached.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
My take on it though is I think one of the things that made it hard to take was the requirement to do site plan review for like everything. It's like, wait a minute, like if you're not changing, let's just say they're adding it in their basement or even their attic or whatever. How can you require site plan review in that situation? I think that was a little bit of an overreach.
And again, this is where I blame me, because the state regs certainly allow for it.
Yeah.
And so what happens is I'm thinking of what's permitted. We're allowed to have site plan review for kind of this change of circumstance. The state allows for it. And so it wasn't until the first or second draft of the Article 28, and I had some people come to me and be like, you know, what the hell? And I had suggested offline, hey, do we want to consider reevaluating, you know, kind of blanket site plan review? In the shortest version possible, it was, no, this is a change of use, and so as such, we should have it.
Okay.
But that wasn't from the full board. That was only from one of the board members. So I don't want to make it seem I'm a slave to logic, and my lack of creativity is a shortcoming. And so, like, the law allows for it, we can do it. And so I didn't mention objections to whether or not that was a good idea or not. And I should have. It just didn't come into my mind.
Yeah.
David, we
Are
do
we-
have Shannon here.
Okay. All right. That was
You
good
bring her up.
discussion. Let's bring her in then. Doris, it might be you, Doris. Do you mind muting if you're not talking?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
you
still in my
stand-
car.
That looks so safe. It's unbelievable.
the word. So now we're
Yeah,
going
that's-
with risk.
That's why I will not look at you. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Sure. What have you got on this sign proposal, Shannon?
Yeah, so we have that for 153 Cordoville. It's
Oh.
a sign above 20 feet, which we need a special permit for. We did scale it back down to 50 square feet total because the tenant wanted well over that. But after going in front of the planning board and getting their feedback, I spoke with the tenant and they agreed to scale it back to the 50 square foot. So the only thing that we're really asking for the special permit for is the signs above 20 feet on the building. And we would also like to keep it with the LED lighting. That's kind of the signs that we've been using on our buildings. We really like the look. I know that they're not really, not that they're not allowed, but you would need a special permit for them off of Route 9 because they're not fronting Route 9 on Cordoville. So we would appreciate if we could get the special permit to continue with the same sort of look that we have in our other buildings. Aside from that, everything else should comply with the bylaw as far as the signage is concerned. So that's what we're looking for here at 153, similar to what I'm doing with the other buildings in Southborough.
Okay. Sorry,
Mhm.
Shannon, for the record, could you just state your name and
Oh.
your role here? That's my fault.
Yes. Apologies. Shannon Boyce, I'm the real estate permitting manager for Capital Group Properties.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so so what we're really talking about is to exceed the height, and then you would like to stay with what you know, the lighting aspect, which by code is only allowed on Route 9, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So it's the LED backing.
Yeah, yeah, and
Mhm.
and in the special permit, were you also asking that all other signs on the same building be allowed with the same, you know, height?
Yes, we're asking for all of the signs to basically any wall signs on the building to be similar. So if we can have them similarly placed, if they're above the 20 feet with the LED lighting, that we would be approved. Sort of the same application I've been putting for our other buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, if possible, it would be appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, we can discuss that. I opined earlier that I'm not sure I like that idea. I'm probably more I don't know. This is just discussion. I think I'd probably more in favor of, you know, the lighting you're talking about for the sign. I know it's not on Route 9, but again, knowing where it is, it's. I mean, it's across the street from the town center. It's next to the transfer station. I think the nearest neighbor is still down the street a little ways.
Yes.
As long as you're not, you know, as long as you're not lighting it overnight, I have a little bit of a hard time with saying you can't do that, but I'll certainly let the other members of the board chime in on that. So, Doug, let's start with you. Do you have any questions or concerns?
First question I have is, how large is the tenant? How much space is it taking up?
So I did not get the square footage for the tenant because for the sign applications, it doesn't really require like park information footage. I didn't really dig into their unit. I can look into that if you like, though.
No, more out of curiosity, are they half a floor, quarter of a floor? I mean,
oh yeah, they're not a full floor. So there's in that building, I believe there's 8 tenants total. So the tenant, that sign is going on the second floor, and it's pretty much going right where their unit is. It's going on the outside of their unit on the second floor, which is like that side of the building.
yeah, so I mean, generally, I'm definitely not opposed to the sign. I do, you know, just, you know, and again, I think my perspective is definitely want to support businesses so people know where they are. I do start to think about, are we going to have 8 or 10 signs on a building at one point, which to me gets, you know, can get very challenging, right? And so that's the reason why I know, Shannon, there's not a requirement, but that's going to be, because I have a feeling you're going to be in front of us quite a bit, which is great. But that's helpful for me to understand just, you know, the scale of a tenant to me is also the reason why, you know, allowing a sign higher up above a certain level, you know, and just trying to be controlled about it, you know, in some fashion. But again, I'm a big fan of other uses in these office buildings. So, you know, a dentistry place is great. And then David, I do agree with you. I think I would prefer to see kind of the signs come in one at a time versus giving a blanket right. You know, so that's just my personal opinion. And then in terms of the light, again, I would kind of agree. My question, I guess, is, do we have the right to do it? So is it allowed by special permit? Or it's more of a question, I guess, for the board. I just don't know, or Lara,
I mean, my understanding is I would need the special permit for it. It is not allowed in that district, so I would need a special permit in order to get the light. So the lighting sign, or, you know, the LED backing. So what it is I guess is the sign itself is sort of clearish, and then you have the light behind it. And when I went for planning, they explained that that's allowed on Route 9, but not off of Route 9. So, yeah. My understanding is without the special permit, we can't do it.
Yeah, I guess that's clear. I mean, more for Lara and David. I mean, just understanding that we do have the right to grant a special permit for a lighted sign on this location. And but David, I would agree with you. it fronts across to, you know, the shopping plaza, which I frequent quite a bit. So I don't think that would be a detriment, you know, particularly on the front of the building. Might be a little bit different if it was facing south, you know.
Yeah,
So anyways,
then it starts affecting the neighbors, yeah.
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 So, especially again, if it's not going to be on at night, then, you know, that would be
I know.
important, you know.
Yep.
So, but those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you.
Probably,
Okay. Doris?
I was 1.8%.
Just can we give relief on that? I'm with Doug. As far as the signs, size, I'm fine with the 50 by 50. And then the lighting, if it's with the code, I just don't know if we can give relief on it. I think it fits in with the neighbors. It doesn't seem like it would, it goes to the commercial side of the property.
Right.
We're back on 85, so I don't have a problem with that. If we can
Oh,
give
Approve.
relief,
I think-
because it's more that will just say it's not allowed, but then say it'll point you to special permit. Then there's this question of all the signs in the building, and David, I'm with you. I wouldn't want to grant that.
okay.
Knowing how many signs come in front of us for all sorts of reasons. And then it can be in the details, you know, maybe the next sign, would be a little bit different configuration, or there could be something differentiating between the signs, and so I'm a no
On having it apply to the whole building.
every sign needs to come in front of the board for sizing.
Okay.
Was someone else gonna speak? I heard someone.
Yeah, I don't know. Jamie, do you have any comments or questions?
I don't have a problem with the size or the height. I'm honestly 50-50 on the light. I guess if it's only gonna be on during the day, I don't really see why that's necessary. And I agree that it's looking over Stony Brook and that commercial area. But you know, as things get higher, we don't know, you know, I know Mount Vickery goes up there. I don't know what potential impact it could have on neighbors. I mean, I think if there was a real need to light it, I'm not that 100% against it by any stretch of the imagination. I just think if we have those rules, I want to hear a good reason why it needs to be lighted. I don't have a problem with the sign itself at all. I do agree that I wouldn't want to grant, you know, the building to have signs whatever they want without coming before us again.
Right.
That's
So-
kind of where
So on the on the lighting of the sign, do you think that the time should be modified? I mean, it's kind of a fair point. What's the point in lighting up a building for dentistry at 9:30 at night? Nobody's going to it. That's not
My understanding is, I guess the time for Southborough is you can light up until what, 10 p.m. and then you shut down until I think it was 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we were just gonna go with the standard, what
Yeah.
was allowed under the bylaws as far as lighting in the town. We weren't gonna,
Yeah.
we were just gonna follow that basically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my question for Jamie is more, is it less of a concern if you sort of pull that time in to be
No.
earlier in the evening?
it's not even as much the timing. I guess I just don't fully understand why it has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like this sign will accomplish what it wants to without the lighting. And I understand the rule for Route 9 and why it would be different off Route 9, even though, like we said, it is a fairly commercial area where that building is and where that sign is going to look out to.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's so, you know, we have to make an exception because no one's gonna be able to find where they're going, or the sign won't do its job if it's not lit. I guess I just don't understand the real
Yeah.
need for it.
Well, I would also say sort of more in your favor, some of the buildings on Route 9 tend to be further back, right? And you're zooming by on Route 9. And so I think it is a little bit more logical there. The building in this case, it's really not that far off of 85. And so, you know, I think you make a pretty reasonable argument about how is that helping if you're not running it at night. And, you know, I hear the argument that we like that because we like that look on other buildings, but the question is there, you know, is that enough for us to approve it as it is? Okay, well, let's find out what Paul and Mike think. Paul?
I'm okay with the height. I'm okay with the lighting too. I know recently it's like a little bit for different circumstances, but we okayed the lighting for the sign that's next door for the utility company, but you know, next door and behind. So that sign is illuminated.
Well, yeah, it's
For
not
a different
that-
reason why, but
Yeah, but I think it's not so much, I think that's a light shining on it, I believe. I don't think it's a backlit. I think the issue that the planning board noted is you're not supposed to light through something translucent or cloth or whatever, unless you're on Route 9. If I remember it correctly, that's the way, I think that's the difference, Paul.
Yeah, that's what they were saying, is that if it was on Route 9, then yes, but it was not on Route 9, so, yeah.
Yeah.
but in general, I'm okay with the lighting part. I assume
Okay.
I assume the owners across the street are okay with it too.
True, yeah. Okay, Mike?
So, and this is an open-ended question. The kind of the strip mall across the way, does Dunkin' Donuts have a lit sign? Does the pizza shop, does the Euro place, does the bank have lit signs? Because I don't have an issue with the height or anything like that. To me, I don't think that those signs are lit. And so it's like,
We might be opening ourselves up a bit, you think?
there it is. It's just like, it's just one of those things where I'm pretty sure that the stores in that plaza would want lit signs for a lot of good reason, especially I'm going to use Dunks for example. So they're driving by and I don't think they have a lit sign. So it's just one of those.
Is there a Dunkies in that plaza over
There
in
is.
Yeah.
Cordova?
Yeah.
There is.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to stop there someday.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to find a Dunkies.
It's an open-ended question, and I
Yeah.
don't have the answer. My instinct is that it's not. I'm gonna
I
see if
think
I can
it's,
pull it up quick.
I
Yeah.
believe they're not, so.
Yeah, they're not. I'm just looking at Google Maps. It looks like, you know, standard signage, right? You know,
Yeah,
they're
I've
not-
got it too.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
not internally illuminated. Now, there's a bunch of Bud Light signs in the windows, but that's a separate discussion. But the signs themselves are not,
But the
They're
signs
not-
themselves aren't lit.
not
so I'm
illuminated,
Not
correct.
inclined to the rule's the rule, because otherwise next month we're gonna have Dunks, we're gonna have
Yeah,
Bright Clean, we're gonna have every single one of these
the bank and,
gourmet gyros and the beauty salon looking for lit signs.
yeah, that's a really good point, Mike.
So I'm
David,
in-
can I ask a procedural question?
Sure.
And this might be a moot point anyways, depending on how you guys go on the illumination, but that was not a request in the original application. So I just want to make
That is
sure
an
that
important-
we are good procedurally.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you
wasn't
for
an
that.
original request because I didn't realize that they would not allow it. So I learned that at the planning board meeting. So it was noted in the application that the sign would be LED backlit. And then at the meeting, they said, no, that was not something they were going to allow or agree to. So, you know, that's why I requested now that we consider it.
Oh, okay, so
Yes.
Laura, you're saying in the original application, they didn't state it was gonna be backlit.
Right, so
No,
like.
I did.
Well, so
did.
it was stated their request for relief was for the height and the area specifically.
Okay. Okay.
So that is also what went into the public hearing notice too.
Well,
Oh,
so that's actually a fair point. If
Yeah.
the public notice didn't say to, you know, backlight the sign, then I think it would be a little bit dangerous to say you can go ahead and do that. And anybody who might be
Mm.
opposed to that doesn't even know that that was on the table, right?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Because
agreed.
I did bring that up before the public's notice went out. I reached out and said that this is an issue at planning. We agreed to like lower the square footage of the sign because initially the tenant wanted it was over 75 square feet, which is well above what the district allows. The district allows 50 square feet. So I went back after the planning board and I discussed with the tenant that I would like to not push it that far. I'll be honest with you. So they agreed to go down to 50 square feet. And then I did reach out and say, but we would like the LED. We would like
Okay.
to push forward with that. And that was before any of the notices went out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll say, Mike, I think actually you bring up a really compelling point, you know, just looking more at Google Maps and everything in the view, there is nothing illuminated, not even the, you know, directory signs. I mean, they are uplit, right? But nothing, you know, internally illuminated. So I would actually, again, I'm only an alternate member at this one, but I would tend to agree this is probably not the precedent we want to be setting. And again, if it has not been noticed properly, even furthermore, but, and again, it is really close to the road. So, I mean, the sign's a very, great looking sign. I don't think anything more is needed, most likely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So,
Pardon me. So the code says under 3 dash in 174, aluminum signs are just prohibited.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying they're prohibited. I'd like to be in favor of business. It says are prohibited in residential and conservation districts.
Well, is this a residential district? I thought it was industrial.
What's the zone here?
It's industrial park, and there is under the special permits for signs, it says that the Board of Appeals shall consider requests for special permits, may grant a special permit for a sign not meeting limitations of sign height, number of signs, illuminations of signs.
Yeah.
So you can do a special
You
permit
can.
for illumination.
Okay, that's why I'm still stuck there. Okay. Thanks,
Yeah,
Laura.
you could.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, but I think Shannon, taking the temperature generally of the board, I think we're okay with the sign. I think we do have a problem with doing the backlit illumination. So, likely you got two paths here. We can just say, look, we're going to approve it, but not the illumination. The other option is we can continue it and you can go back to, Capitol and say, this is where we are. What do you want to do? You really want to push the backlit, or are you going to be okay with the illumination? But
Yeah.
can
I ask, as far as the future signs, if they're not going to allow me to do the wall signage like I did with the other buildings, will the special permit at least allow us to replace this particular sign in the future? So if we get another tenant in that unit who would like a sign, can we do a special permit that allows them to put a sign in the same spot, same footprint for a future tenant?
So you're just saying if somebody meets the same footprint.
Yeah, because what I've been trying to do is whatever we agree to as far as these wall signs, try to make it sort of a standard blueprint for a building. So we can say, okay, yes, it can be above 20 feet. It must be this square footage. It can be lit or cannot be, blah, 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 that kind of a thing. But if we're not going to allow that for the whole building, can we at least allow it for this particular footprint for this sign? So if we get another tenant in that particular unit down the road, that we can swap out signage for them, at least at this particular sign?
I would assume that the sign, if we're approving the sign, it's just approving a sign. It's not approving it for a specific tenant. So I would, maybe I'm wrong here, but I would assume that means it's a sign that's approved. That if the tenant leaves, it's not going to have to be taken down if the tenant leaves. So I think if the sign's approved, it's there.
I think she's saying, can we put a different sign there?
Yeah. But if we're approving it now for a sign of 50 square feet above the maximum or above the allowable height, then we're approving a sign for there, and that means that it's approved.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't love that personally, just because I mean, I doubt that we put anything kind of provocative on there, but you kind of open the door to that with that
Yeah,
ruling.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think?
I'm with Paul. To me, it's a sign. So let's just say today it's a dentist. 5 years from now, it's a chiropractor. To me, I just
Yeah.
yeah. To me, it's this is a commercial use. It's the business owner's sign. To me, if I don't think it's limited to the tenant.
So,
But-
Mark, under code section, under abandonment, under sign, non-conforming, that's 174-21. A non-conforming use including a non-accessory sign, if discontinued for a period of 2 or more years or abandoned should not be reestablished. And any future use of the structure shall conform to this chapter, so they'd have to go back to a special permit.
After a period of
3
Can we
time.
grant an yeah, after a couple of years, so we could put this in, but I don't know how you get past this aspect. I'd like to put consistency, and we have had instances where there was a sign that was so non-conforming, there wasn't a place to go back into the chapter to get additional relief. I think it was a roof sign. We just don't allow roof signs for a whole bunch of reasons in towns. That was a non-permitted. I don't know how the sign got up there at the time, but
Okay, well,
I
thanks for
believe it
checking
wasn't
that
allowed.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
I like.
but is this something we have to clearly state, or are we just talking about procedurally here?
I don't think it's something we need to state. I think we
I
can
don't,
just.
No, it's in the code.
it's in the
Yeah,
code,
so
yeah.
It's there.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
got a 2-year window
So
of
we,
protection.
yeah, so we've got code on it, so. I take it that what we would be, before we close the public hearing, what we'd be talking about is approving the height, approving the area, approving, illumination, but not backlit illumination, most likely. And I think what we're talking about is in terms of the future, we're just saying, let's just follow the code here. I don't know that we want to say,
I agree.
I agree.
okay. So Shannon, you okay with us continuing this way?
Yeah, I think so. I'll go back to the tenant and I'll explain to them that they'll just have to redesign their sign. That it can be approved for the spot they're hoping to get it on, 50 square feet, but they just cannot be backlit LED.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
hopefully we can find a similar sign that is sort of on brand that they'll like.
Right, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, obviously that helps them more in terms of schedule, right? Because otherwise you're going down the road and just delaying the whole thing, so.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have anybody from the public who wants to join the meeting and comment, Laura?
Nope.
And board members, was there anything more you wanted to discuss with the applicant, or are we pretty good here?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay,
I'm good.
all right,
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
all right.
Ooh.
I guess we're giving that one to Doris for the second.
Up to you. I think I was first.
So we have a motion to close the public hearing with a second. All in favor, respond with aye, opposed nay. Jamie,
Aye.
Doris,
Aye.
Paul,
All right.
Mike,
Aye.
and Williams, aye. Okay, that closes the public hearing. I think we've sort of discussed this one around, quite a bit. I think the challenge is who wants to make the motion for how we approve this.
David, can I just clarify for
Oh,
me for the writing of the decision? Because I want to make sure I get this right.
Okay.
So you guys are granting a special permit to allow a wall sign that exceeds the maximum allowable height, right?
Yep.
But that will otherwise conform with the code,
Correct.
correct? Okay. There's
I
nothing
think-
more to it than that, right?
I think you're stating that pretty accurately because
Okay.
it complies with the square footage now, right? The only
Yes.
issue
Yes.
is the height. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Okay, all right, just to note, the public hearing part is closed now, so, all right then, I don't know, Mike or Jamie, you want to take a crack at it?
I make a motion to approve the application, which allows it to exceed the allowed height, but otherwise will remain in code. Something like that.
Yeah, in compliance with the code, yeah.
Complies with the code, yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'll second it.
All right, that has a second. So we have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor, respond with aye, opposed nay. Paul,
Aye.
Doris. All right, you gotta unmute first though. You're on mute, Doris.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Williams, aye. Okay, that approves the sign with the modifications we discussed. I think you've got the gist of it. And Laura can share the details on the schedule with you.
Sure.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you all.
Yeah.
Um,
Shannon, just so you know, our filing deadline for this is May 21st. I'll try to have
Okay.
it done before that, but that's what we'll be looking at for a deadline. And then you know all the rest, the 20-day appeal period, recorded at the registry, all that good stuff. So I'll send
Yes.
you a copy when I have it filed.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Shannon.
Yeah.
Bye, have a good night.
Bye. You too. All right. That was the last item on the agenda, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And we took care of the minutes. You already talked about next meetings.
Mhm.
We had a little bit of ADU discussion there, but I don't know. I think we're kind of set. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Time to watch the Celtics game.
I'm ready.
I was thinking about that too, Jamie. So,
Drum roll. Who's doing the drum roll?
all right, Paul.
So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All right, motion
Thank
to adjourn has been made with a second. All in favor, respond with aye, opposed nay. Doug,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Doris,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and Williams, aye. Thanks very much. Good discussion, everybody. Good work.
Aye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye now.
Have a good evening.